create a bar graph. Some books will call it a bar graph, other books will call it a column graph. I think to be more accurate or technical, then you're talking about the vertical or the horizontal bar graph. Just pay attention to what is required and then you can follow suit. Excel does make a distinction between the two. The one with the vertical bars, Excel calls it the column graph, and the other one with the horizontal bars, it's called the bar graph. When do we use a bar graph? We basically use it for data that is qualitative or categorical in nature. Look at this example. I am on tab 5 in the same file, which is the chapter 2 class activities. In here, I do have the average money spent by college students. So we go from the category, which is electronics, to food, and then the amount spent on each one of these categories. In order to initiate the bar graph, and I'm going to do both the horizontal and the vertical, first we highlight the whole table. And then we go to insert. If it's not selected already, you can do that. And I'm going to start with the column graph. We'll choose the two-dimensional one. Look, this is the initial setup of the graph. If you want to change or re-choose the same one and then choose a bar graph, that is the vertical. Let's put them side to side. Notice now. So here you've got the horizontal bars. That's what Excel calls the bar graph, and this is the column graph. And what is left now is basically to modify these two files and make them more professional in appearance. So I'm going to start with the column graph. The first thing by now, and I think you've guessed it, is to remove the legend. I have no use for it. I'm talking about one series, so it's not confusing to tell, and then I can identify the title in the same graph. Remove the grid lines, the horizontal ones. Now look at it. I do have the electronics, I have the car here, the horizontal axis, it does not have any title, so I need to add a title to this axis. So of course we go to the layout, and then from there we go to the axis title, horizontal, and then below. This one, sorry, is the category. Type it and press enter, so it goes below. We'll worry about the font size later. I need to do the same to the horizontal, to the vertical one. That is the y-axis, and that represents the amount spent. So just type it. Again, enter. Let's make them bigger. So we have this one selected. We go to the home menu and then make it bigger. And actually, let's have it with a different color, so to distinguish between this and the actual numbers given in there. So I'm going to make it in this color, and then we do the same to the category. I'm going to make it bigger first before I change its color to burgundy. And what is left is the amount spent here. Let's make it more meaningful. Amount spent on what? So this is amount spent by college students. So as much as possible, have the information meaningful. So anyone who's looking at your graph will get an idea, will understand what is it that you're trying to do. The last thing I'm going to do is to vary the colors of these rectangles. Again, it's very boring to have the same color all across. So I'm going to go to the format data series. Remember, we go to the fill and choose the last option, which is the vary colors by point, and then close. By the way, guys, you wish to change it different colors, different than the default ones, you can double click on any particular one, and then you see here, you can apply all kinds of changes to it. It would be nice if you experiment with this, play with it and see what the outcome is, and then choose the one that you're more comfortable with. And this one is the column graph. We can apply the same features to the bar graph. So in here, let me make it slightly bigger. And to give it more enhancement, give it more space, I'm going to delete the legend. Look how wider it becomes now. Look at the vertical grid lines. I don't need them. Same thing with the rectangles. I'm going to vary the color. So data series, we go to fill and choose the last option. It's done. What is left is basically to apply a title to the x-axis and one to the y-axis. So we go to the layout and the axis title, horizontal, and title below. Now it's reversed, guys. So look here, it's the numbers, it's the amount spent. So the amount spent that goes on the x-axis. On the y-axis, in this case, which is the vertical one, rotated, we have the category. Compare and contrast actually between the two graphs. You can see it clearly that I'm reversing the order of the x and the y-axis. I'm going to make them bigger. So home and size, I think 14. Yeah, will do nicely. Same thing to the title on the y-axis, size 14 font. Good. Now I'm going to change this one to read the same as the other one. And that is amount spent by college students. Once we look at both, we can identify what is the highest or the biggest amount spent visually right away. Whether it's the vertical or the horizontal, we can tell that the electronics consumed the biggest amount or the biggest percentage in this budget, whereas the amount spent on food was the least. And you can arrive at the same conclusion by looking at either graph. So this concludes my video for the bar column graph. I'll see you in the next video.